High above Earth in the frozen polar night, a powerful force spins ceaselessly, the polar vortex. This mighty atmospheric phenomenon is a crucial component of our planet's climate system, influencing weather patterns far beyond its icy domain. It's not a storm, but a vast, swirling river of wind encircling the coldest regions of our planet. This river of air is a dynamic and ever-changing force, constantly shifting and adapting to the conditions of the atmosphere. Picture a spinning top, keeping frigid air locked at the top of the world. This top is not just a simple toy, it is a complex system that plays a vital role in maintaining the balance of temperatures across the globe. This circulation exists in the stratosphere, far above our daily weather. It is a realm where the air is thin and the temperatures are extreme, yet it is here that the polar vortex exerts its influence, shaping the climate below. The vortex forms from the stark temperature difference between the icy pole and warmer southern regions, setting this colossal wind in motion. This temperature gradient is the engine that drives the vortex, creating a powerful force that can impact weather patterns across continents. Acting as a barrier, it locks the coldest air over the Arctic, shaping the climate of the northern hemisphere. This barrier is not impenetrable, but it is formidable, influencing everything from the jet stream to the formation of storms. The vortex is strongest in winter, weakening as sunlight returns in spring. During the long, dark winter months, the vortex tightens its grip, but as the sun rises higher in the sky, its hold begins to loosen, allowing warmer air to creep northward. By containing Arctic air, it creates the stable weather patterns and seasons we depend on. These patterns are the foundation of our agricultural cycles, our ecosystems, and our way of life, providing the predictability we rely on. But when this spinning guardian loses balance, its effects can reach deep into our cities and lives. A disrupted vortex can lead to extreme weather events, from unseasonal cold snaps to intense storms, challenging our infrastructure and resilience. What happens when the icy crown falters? The answer shapes the world we know, as climate change continues to alter the dynamics of the polar vortex. Understanding its behavior becomes ever more critical, for it holds the key to the future of our planet's climate. In its strong state, the polar vortex acts as a master regulator of weather across the northern hemisphere. This vast, swirling mass of cold, dense air sits high above the Arctic, spinning like a colossal top. Its presence is both powerful and subtle, shaping the climate in ways most people never realize. The polar vortex's powerful winds, known as the polar night jet stream, form an invisible wall that separates the frigid Arctic air from the milder air to the south. This barrier is crucial. It acts as a shield, preventing the coldest air on Earth from escaping and sweeping down into lower latitudes. When this atmospheric wall holds firm, the Arctic's icy grip remains locked in place. Winters in North America and Europe become more predictable, with fewer surprises. People can go about their daily lives, and cities are spared from the harshest blasts of Arctic cold. Imagine the polar vortex as an atmospheric dam, holding back a vast reservoir of the planet's coldest air. Just as a dam keeps a river in check, the vortex keeps the Arctic's deep freeze contained, protecting the lands below. A strong vortex ensures that the lower jet stream flows smoothly from west to east, acting as a conveyor belt for weather systems. This steady flow limits the chances of Arctic air plunging southward, keeping winter storms in check. This delicate balance is what allows civilizations to flourish. Reliable seasons mean stable agriculture, thriving cities, and predictable weather patterns that support life as we know it. The polar vortex, though invisible to the naked eye, is absolutely essential to life in the mid-latitudes. It quietly shapes our winters, ensuring that the cold remains where it belongs. It's the silent guardian, always at work high above, keeping the Arctic's deep freeze from spilling into our world. Without it, our winters would be far more unpredictable and severe. But when this atmospheric dam weakens, everything changes. The cold escapes, and the weather can turn wild and extreme in an instant, reminding us just how vital the polar vortex truly is. The polar vortex isn't always a perfect circle. Sometimes, atmospheric waves, like Rossby waves, disrupt its flow, causing it to wobble or even split. This sudden stratospheric warming weakens the vortex, breaking down the wind barrier. Arctic air, once contained, spills southward into North America, Europe, and Asia. The result, dramatic weather shifts, with frigid air plunging south and warm air surging north. We've seen this in recent years, like the 2014 and 2019 cold snaps in the US, when temperatures dropped lower than Antarctica. These aren't just cold days, they're extreme, dangerous events that strain power grids and disrupt daily life. The faltering vortex unleashes chaos, reminding us of its powerful influence. When the Guardian fails, winter's reach grows unpredictable. The consequences ripple far beyond the Arctic. In February 2021, Texas faced a catastrophic winter storm, a direct result of a weakened polar vortex. A sudden stratospheric warming event split the vortex, sending Arctic air deep into the southern U.S. Texas, unprepared for such cold, saw its power grid and infrastructure fail. Millions lost power, heat, and water during a historic freeze. The human and economic toll was immense, exposing our vulnerability to extreme weather. This wasn't just a freak event, it was a warning. The Texas freeze showed how a disruption high above the pole can trigger disaster thousands of miles away. It highlighted the urgent need for resilient infrastructure in a world of increasing extremes. The old rules of weather no longer apply. The polar vortex's stability is a matter of life and death. Here's the paradox. While we often think of global warming as simply making the world hotter, a rapidly warming Arctic may actually cause more severe cold snaps in the mid-latitudes. It sounds counterintuitive, but the science is clear. As the Arctic heats up at more than twice the global average, it sets off a chain reaction that can bring frigid air to places unaccustomed to such extremes. As sea ice melts and the Arctic warms, the temperature difference between the pole and the equator shrinks. This difference is what powers the polar vortex, a high-altitude, fast-moving ribbon of cold air that circles the North Pole. When that temperature contrast weakens, so does the vortex itself. Imagine the polar vortex as a spinning top. When it's strong, it spins smoothly, keeping cold air locked up north. But as the Arctic warms, the vortex loses its strength and stability, starting to wobble and meander, just like a top about to topple over. The once strong barrier that kept icy Arctic air contained becomes flimsy and porous, allowing frigid air to spill southward into North America, Europe, and Asia, bringing sudden and severe winter weather. Recent research increasingly links Arctic warming to more frequent breakdowns of the polar vortex, resulting in extreme winter events, unexpected blizzards, record-breaking cold snaps, and even disruptions to infrastructure and daily life. More open water in the Arctic, exposed by melting ice, releases additional heat into the atmosphere. This extra warmth alters atmospheric pressure patterns, encouraging the formation of large waves in the jet stream that further disturb the vortex's stability. The result? Greater weather extremes. Intense heat waves in some regions, while others are hit by brutal, lingering cold. These wild swings can happen within the same season, or even the same week, making weather less predictable and more dangerous. The polar vortex's growing instability is a clear symptom of our planet's fever, a sign that the climate system is being pushed beyond its normal limits. Global warming doesn't mean steady, gentle warmth everywhere. It means a future of wild, unpredictable swings, scorching heat one moment, bone-chilling cold the next. The wobbly vortex is more than just a scientific curiosity. It's a warning sign that our climate is destabilizing, urging us to pay attention and take action before these extremes become the new normal. Looking ahead to 2030 and beyond, the trends are clear. The Arctic will keep warming and the polar vortex will become more unstable. This doesn't mean every winter will bring disaster, but the odds of extreme cold snaps are rising. Events like the 2021 Texas freeze could become once-a-decade threats, not once in a century. Regions unprepared for Arctic cold face growing risks to power, water, and agriculture. Europe and Asia are also vulnerable, with cold outbreaks disrupting energy and food supplies. Our interconnected world means a weather disaster in one region can ripple globally. The next decade will bring more volatility, demanding new approaches to infrastructure and resource management. The forecast isn't steady change, it's increasing turbulence. The polar vortex's wobble signals a new, unstable climate era. More frequent polar vortex disruptions will do more than bring cold. They'll reshape our seasons. The predictable march from winter to spring may give way to wild swings. Spring-like warmth one week, Arctic cold the next. This weather whiplash threatens agriculture, as false springs and late frosts can devastate crops. Water resources will also be affected, with persistent droughts in some areas and flooding in others. The timing of rain and snow will become less predictable, complicating water management. The very concept of normal seasons is fading. Winters may intrude into spring, and summer heat may arrive in autumn. The blurring of seasonal lines is a direct result of a destabilized climate system. The wobbly polar vortex is driving this new, unpredictable reality. Nature is finely tuned to the seasons, but a weakened polar vortex throws these rhythms into chaos. Migratory birds may arrive too late or too early, missing vital food sources. Hibernating animals risk waking during false springs, only to face renewed cold and starvation. Plants that bloom early can be destroyed by sudden freezes, disrupting pollinators and the food web. These mismatches, phenological asynchrony, threaten entire ecosystems. The ripple effects cascade from insects to mammals, destabilizing the balance of life. The polar vortex, spinning high above, holds surprising power over the fate of nature. Its instability endangers the delicate web that sustains us all. The story of the polar vortex is a story of connection, how Arctic warming triggers consequences worldwide. Our planet is a single, interconnected system, not a collection of isolated parts. Cold snaps in our cities are symptoms of a planetary fever, not random events. Understanding the polar vortex matters for everyone, not just scientists. Burning fossil fuels is destabilizing the patterns that govern our weather. We must build resilient societies and address the root cause: global warming. The wobbly vortex is a warning, one we can't afford to ignore. Our future depends on listening to these signals and acting wisely. The silent, spinning crown of our planet is sending a message. Will we hear it?